So I recently got into some Twitter beef regarding the brand new Castoplast BERG X.
There's three keys to disc golf: driving, approaching, and putting. You need all three to do this disc sport.
So I don't know about you guys, but the BERG X release came out of nowhere. I knew nothing about it until I saw a post on Twitter and it said coming soon. It was a picture of the BERG X. And I quoted it. I said, will somebody post a goddamn side profile of this disc? Because if you know me, I'm passionate about side profiles of discs. So we actually know what they look like, what they're gonna fly like, instead of just showing us the same old dumbass looking stamp that everybody posts a picture of. I had someone reply to me, and I gotta assume this person doesn't know how to read. Most disc golfers are smart, but not all of them. He said, never seen a BERG before? Why so hostile? Cry emoji, laugh cry emoji, laugh cry emoji. I said, do people not realize that this is a BERG X, which is a brand new mold with different flight numbers? Another guy said, it looks the exact same though. And I said, but you would not know that unless you saw the profile of the disc. Another profile replied to me, who I assume also cannot read, because there's a little X on the end of the BERG X, because it's a brand new disc. And he said, it's a BERG, Poppy, nothing new. I said, it's a BERG X, new mold, different flight numbers, not the same disc. Once again, educating the disc golf world like I do. Now this reply, I liked it. He clapped back a little bit. He said, just hold your phone sideways when looking at the picture. I liked it, not gonna lie. I didn't reply, but I smirked. That was a good one. And then the all-time GOAT, Ran Disc Golf, on Disc Golf Twitter, of course, replied to me with a picture of the side profile of the BERG X. He said, there you are. I commented back. I said, GOAT emoji, handshake emoji. He said, let me know if you need anything else. So now we're here. So unfortunately, guys, I do not have a regular BERG to compare this to, because I'm not a fucking loser. So before we get into it, obviously, I gotta show you the side profile nice and close. The one big difference I noticed right here is just this slight curvature, right kind of on the bottom of the wing here. Everything else, I would say, feels almost identical to the original BERG. First throw, backhand, just gonna try and hit it flat. All right out of the box, that thing is so much more overstable and so much less glide. So if you're familiar with the BERG, you probably know that it's known for not having a ton of glide. It's also known for being extremely torque resistant, but at the same time, not necessarily being super overstable. Me and the BERG, now, we go way back. Back in 2015, before they were cool, before Eric Oakley, before they became probably one of the best-selling discs over the last couple years, me and the BERG had a real close relationship. I was always the type of player who liked to throw as hard as I possibly could anytime possible. So with the BERG, it didn't go anywhere, but if you had decent arm speed, you could control the shit out of it and basically throw it as hard as you could for any shot, maybe 320 feet or under. Unfortunately, I got absolutely fucking roasted for throwing it. And then a few years later, what do you know? It's the most popular disc in the fucking market. So I no longer bag a BERG. I haven't really thrown one for maybe a year or two. So yes, it's been a while since I've thrown a BERG, but I know one thing's for sure. This thing is way more overstable than your regular stock BERG. Now the flight number's 1112 versus the BERG's 1102. That might mean absolutely nothing. Now, I've been playing disc golf for a long time, but I'll be completely honest. I know what like 12.5 -1.3 means, where it has a -1 turn and then the fade is 3. But if it's a +1 turn, is that like a sign of like torque resistance? Does that mean it's even harder to turn over? I don't know. I'm not exactly the most, I know the basic flight number things, but let me know down below. So we should probably try and throw this on just like a hyzer forehand. I assume it's going nowhere. Oh my God. So I'm a big advocate of like a lot of these super overstable, low glide one speeds can kind of be a crutch for a lot of players. That's actually one of the main reasons I stopped throwing the BERG, was because I felt as though I never developed that touch with those maybe 150 foot and in shots. I think the BERG X is even more of a crutch than the BERG. So a lot of people obviously throw this style of discs for just a stock forehand chip up shot. We're also gonna test it on a little bit of a flex line, because I feel like a lot of people also love just carving them through the woods on up shots. You can absolutely shank them over and they're always gonna come back. Yeah, so that got significantly more distance when released on a flex line, but you probably saw I threw it on Annie and immediately popped up to flat. I feel like that's how you really know if a disc is overstable, when you hit it and immediately go poof, and just pops right back up. I'm gonna try and hit a flex line backhand back at the camera. Oh yeah, when you hit this thing on the flex, it has a lot more forward push. Obviously, you're gonna get more flight out of it, but it seems like when you hit it on a flex line, it actually has more straight stability rather than overstability. Very similar to the Zone OS in a way of, like, if you just smack the Zone OS on a hyzer, it is the most overstable disc you've ever thrown. But if you throw it even a little softer and maybe on a flex line or a flatter line, it actually pushes more straight than if you just smack on it even harder. So it's almost like, if you want it to be straighter, maybe throw it a little softer. If you want it to be more overstable, smack on it. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've watched any videos talking about the Zone OS, you've probably heard, even Paul Macbeth said it, that it's almost a better putting zone, because when you putt it, it holds straight, whereas when you throw it, it's more overstable. I kind of feel like the BERG X falls into that similar category of flight characteristics. So let's try this thing on a punch throw. Kind of just a nice soft little toss. Nice and floaty. Obviously, that was like 70 feet. But a 70-foot shot, a lot of times with a stable disc, is still gonna hyzer out. But at that low speed, it actually held pretty much dead straight. I don't know if the BERG X falls into that like ridiculously unusable overstable category, but I think it's close. Let's give this thing a few more throws. I'm gonna hit a backhand high Annie line here. Really stalled. Holy. So that flight was interesting because I really tried to smack it high on an Annie and it never faded hard. Kind of just dropped straight down once again. The torque resistance, if they were going for torque resistance, if that +1 turn number means torque resistance, they hit the nail on the head with this one. So if you're a fan of the regular BERG and you want something that goes less far, might even be more torque resistant and more overstable, I guess you could give one of these a try. But if I'm being completely honest, I do not think that this disc, the BERG X, is something that you should be bagging, especially if you're a newer player to the game, an amateur disc golfer. The BERG X style disc, I do not think is something you should rely on for your upshots, plain and simple, because I think it's a crutch. I did it myself when I was a young player, and I think it's part of the reason why those 150-foot upshots are probably the worst shot in my game, because I relied on a disc that had no glide, tons of stability, to just throw out and crash into the basket. Now, yes, you might say, well, some players are never going to be sponsored players. They're always going to have an open bag, so they'll always be able to bag a BERG or a BERG X. You're correct. But if you want to have a very well-rounded game and never feel as though you're lacking, and you want to eventually learn all shots, maybe don't grab a BERG X and rely on it for everything inside of 200 feet, because I think it's going to be bad for your game. That's just my opinion, guys. So let's give it a couple more chucks. Now to get to the real reason why we're all here, the forehand roller. Now we know if you turn this thing sideways, it's damn near a wheel. I don't know, maybe that's what it's good for. I mean, I don't think you're gonna get much side to side variation when you put that thing down nice and vertical. So if I had one recommendation for the BERG X forehand rollers, put them babies down. You're getting, I don't know what that is, 170 feet, dead straight roll. Money. Take back everything I said. Get yourself a BERG X. Anyways, guys, so that's the BERG X drama explained, at least my side. Shit, guys, I almost forgot about internet distance. I gotta show you how far this thing flies. Oh, that's gotta be at least like 250 feet. Right where the foot planted, guys. We'll see what kind of internet distance the old BERG X gets us. Hoping for at least 250, because if not, the 250 full flight destroyer throwers are gonna eat me alive. We're at 137 feet, guys. This is gonna come down to the wire. I can taste it. Oh, it's looking pretty. It's looking good on my end, guys. These full flight 250 foot destroyer throwers are gonna be shaking in their boots. 230. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh god. 254. Boom, boom. Oh my god. I'm cracked. You see that shit? 266. BERG X. Man, I officially throw a BERG X further than those dudes in my comments on the time-lapse video. Yes. Well, guys, that's pretty much gonna do it for this one. That was the Castaplas BERG X, brand new mold, because I guess some people don't know how to read 1112 compared to the original BERG's numbers of 1102. I would not recommend you buy one of these unless in this video you saw something you liked, because then go ahead and buy it, because it really doesn't matter, guys, if we're being completely honest. I'll probably never throw this again, so it's probably gonna go into a box, and then I don't know where it'll end up. But thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next one. I remember all them winters. Ah, man. I wonder where the nearest garbage can is. Oh, there it is. We hear word about the party. Bundled up.